history of the Catholic Church is overflowing with mysteries, from its center in the Vatican to events of the past. And one of the more controversial stories in its history is about the female Pope Johannes Anglicus, or more commonly known as Pope Joan. She was a woman who disguised herself as a man and eventually became the Pope of the said religion. Because of this, many have wondered how this happened and what the truth is behind this story. And that is what we are going to uncover. According to a book written by a Catholic priest, Reverend Martin J. Scott, titled Answer Wisely on page 49, this is how the Catholic Church introduces the Pope. The Pope, therefore, as a vicar of Christ, is the visible head on Christ's kingdom, on earth, the Church, of which Christ himself is the invisible head. According to Reverend Martin J. Scott himself, the Catholic Church recognizes the Pope as the leader of the said religion, and therefore, this position is indeed very delicate, because he is responsible for the entire Catholic Church. That is why, when it comes to discipline in the Catholic Church, one of the rules they strictly follow is the prohibition of women from holding positions as priests, bishops, and especially the position of the Pope. But why? It's simple. The Catholic Church has a doctrine that those who are to receive this kind of duty must bear the likeness of Jesus Christ, being a man. Additionally, they base this on the Holy Scriptures, where it is stated that only men were chosen by Jesus to be his apostles. That's why it's truly surprising for the Catholic Church to have knowledge of a woman who was chosen to lead the Church. For those who are not yet aware, the story of Pope Joan first appeared in a historical record in the 13th century, which eventually spread throughout Europe. In 1493, a cartographer and German historian named Hartmann Schedel created and released this image depicting Pope Joan in the guise of Pope John VII, which was her assumed name. In addition, it is also noticeable that she is carrying a baby, which I will explain in relation to Pope Joan. And in 1560, after this image appeared and spread, Pope Joan can also be clearly seen wearing the sacred tiara on her head. What I've mentioned are just some of the works that may support the existence of the female pope. However, when it comes to the story, there are several versions that spread about Pope Joan, and one of these versions also influenced a film related to our current topic. Did you know that in the Middle Ages, on January 28, 814, a baby girl was born named Johanna von Ingelheim, whose father was a priest in their village, secretly having a child with a woman, and Pope Joan was the result of this union. She grew up as an educated woman in a cathedral school with the help she received from a politician named Gerald. Unbeknownst to her, Gerald had secret feelings for her, which were soon discovered by Johanna's husband. Eventually, the day came when Gerald left to go to war, which led Johanna's husband to marry her in order to keep her away from Gerald. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Vikings attacked the wedding, and Johanna was the only one who survived and managed to escape. From that point on, she went into hiding and later disguised herself as a man. As time passed, she entered the Benedictine monastery in Fulda, Germany, not as Johanna, but under her assumed name Johannes Anglicus. As I mentioned earlier, even back then, it was strictly prohibited for women to be accepted as priests. Over time, an epidemic broke out in the monastery, and as a result, every person there had to undergo a physical examination. This worried Johanna, as the church officials would discover her true gender if this happened. However, with the help of an official, she was smuggled out to avoid the examination, as the official had already learned Johanna's true identity. Her disguise as a man continued for a long time until she reached Rome, where her name quickly spread, as she became known for her skills as a physician. During that time, the reigning pope was Pope Sergius VI, who had gout, which led to Johanna being summoned by the pope, and she was able to heal him. From that moment, Johanna's standing as Johannes in the church improved, and believe it or not, she performed several miracles and extraordinary deeds, which contributed to her rising position in the Catholic Church. However, during her service, she crossed paths with Gerald once again. And this is when temptation began to creep into Johanna's life, as they started a secret relationship while she was serving the church. In the year 855, during the selection of a new leader for the church, Johannes Anglicus, better known as Johanna, was elected as the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. This was celebrated by many, especially her fellow priests who had great trust in her because of the remarkable things she had accomplished. However, they were unaware of her true identity, and according to historical records, her leadership lasted only 2 years. This was due to her secret relationship with Gerald, even while she held the highest position, which led to her forbidden affair, resulting in Pope Joan becoming pregnant. In the year 857, the entire church was shocked when she gave birth, which is why, in other depictions of her, as I mentioned earlier, she is shown carrying a child. That's why some high-ranking church officials did not prolong this shocking event, and a new selection for the next pope quickly took place. According to various versions of the story, Pope Joan either lost her life due to childbirth or was stoned to death by the people for the betrayal she had committed. Despite Pope Joan's act of betrayal, she did not abandon the Catholic Church, as she was a servant of God. And despite her bitter fate, whether through childbirth or stoning, in the eyes of God, she remained Pope Joan, who once served the Church. Because I believe that one does not simply become Pope unless the Spirit of God comes to them. What is your opinion as our video today? Comment down below.